Mic check. Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today, that is for 25th of January 2022. Today's feature news is on election freebie culture. And before we get into that discussion, let me welcome each of you here. Good evening UPSC Wala, good evening Kriti, hi, hello Babani, hi Netra, good evening Hima, hi Amlan, hi Khadija, welcome to you. Welcome Ashish, and yes, I have noted down the question that you have presented, Hima. We will cater to this question right now itself. Hi Ravi, good evening to you. Now, before I get into the conversation of the election freebie culture, let me share with you the points that you have mentioned. I am going to read out certain points. Testing, 1, 2, 3, all right. Yes, hi Mukesh, welcome. Hi Tiasha, welcome to you as well. So before we get into this discussion, let me just quickly share the points that you have put and how I would like you to put the same points, right? So this will be a quick, analysis between the gaps that I find and what you are presenting. Good evening, Spider-Man. So let me read out the remarks that you have mentioned in the comment section. They are beautiful. Before anything, they are beautiful. So some of you have stated, the question was, point out 5 implications of giving freebies during elections in India, state 3 positives as well. So one of you said, to get popular support, keep people away from actual problems, right? So the word is get popular support. I would like you to put it as populist measures, that keyword populist. Don't write the whole sentence or a phrase. The second one is keep people away from actual problems. So this is diversion from actual issue or diversion from the welfare issues. Some keyword, you have to spot that keyword and start using that language. The third one, it says votes oriented, right? So populist measure again to cover the failure of the party, all right, diverting attention, all right. Another one says short-term gains undermining long-term picture, often candidates getting away with past wrongs. See, so this huge phrase that you have mentioned, this must be curtailed into a point, a keyword, right? This is my point of contention. The idea is presented, it's good, but it's long, it's a little long, right? So write just the keyword, give me an example alongside or a stats about it, right? Violation of code of conduct and expenditure rules of EC. Absolutely correct. Agree with this point. Violation of code of conduct. Very less chances for young people and people without strong political backing to win. So you mentioned the point of inequality. Article 14 gets, we are playing with the Article 14 here, right? Equality here, mention that. And absolutely correct. I agree with this point. Then another point is to manipulate democracy. Okay, good. I like that keyword, manipulating with a political democracy. Then the other point is to attract more people inside the process. See, this is the phrase, this needs to be rephrased. That's the point I'm mentioning. To hide real problem, right? Evading, that is the word. So my point is that you people are on the right track, providing inputs, great, but start using that language right now, right? We will learn that language because this is the language that the magazine itself, the current affairs magazine, it speaks. See, look at this, election manifesto. It says DPSP, Directive Principle of the State Policy. So when you explain your points, you will put what you have written. But when you're writing the pointers, you will write that constitution article that we are talking of, Article 14, right? Welfare measures, populist measures, right? So appeasement of votes, social welfare, hide underperformance. Ye chahiye mujhe. I need these words, right? So you start remembering these keywords and then automatically these sentences will flow from you. Right? This is what is required, right? To create competition, good. Manipulate people's decision, costlier elections. Okay, good point. Popularist practice. I agree with you points. Absolutely. See, Asim has mentioned directive principles. Okay, good. He has mentioned a positive point here. Understanding the problem or recognizing them. Okay. So money circulation decreases inflation. Okay. All right. Divergence from main issues, creating a long-term problem. See, I think the point has been conveyed well now. If the point that you are mentioning is in the form of a phrase that is longer than 5-6 keywords, 5-6 words, then it is a complete explanation. I need these small keywords, right? And they become the important pointers which the examiner will look at, and then the whole explanation if they want to read. but these pointers become the key, right? So this is a quick analysis of what you have shared. Let's begin this. All right. Good evening, Rakesh. I am facing a lot of problems regarding my preparation. Rakesh wants to connect with me. All right. So Rakesh, I will share with you something about myself so that you are able to connect with me just a bit. All right. You might want to check the comments, Rakesh. Let's begin this conversation. All right. So let's begin this now. To mention what is election freebies, these are the kind of free items that are advertised by the political parties. They would give to the people, to the masses, if they vote for them, right? Now, before we get into the article, let me show you the kind of things that are promised to people. What is promised to people generally is giving them exemptions and subsidies. So for example, not only more subsidies, but exemption of loans. Their loans are waived worth thousands and thousands of crores. This is promised in case the party wins in power. This increases the culture of people not to repay loans, especially agriculture. There are parties which have promised these mixers and grinders. There are parties which are promising, which have already delivered bicycles for girl children to be able to go to schools, right? I do not disagree with these measures. They are developmental in nature, but they focus on a particular audience only. This is not equally providing the facilities to everybody. There are parties which have offered smartphones for women because they are using the regular phones which are non-smart. These phones will help them. Yes, they will. There are parties which are offering tablets, smartphones, PCs, and even cows in case they win in power. Why? Because these are the things that are items of utility for the poorer population of the country, right? And why to talk only of freebies? Let's look at how the election expenditure happens. The day itself, before the election happens, thousands and thousands of crores of money in national elections time are also caught. Why? Because this money is distributed for people to be able to vote for these parties, right? And not only that, alcohol is seized, right? So these are more than 10,000 bottles of alcohol seized in an election, before an election in Bihar. Not only that, whenever elections are held, if you have seen, when the elections are over by the evening time, there are places and pockets in the city itself where people are celebrating. There is a party for not only alcohol but non-vegetarian food that people thrive on, and this is thrown by political parties itself. Where does this money come from? Now this is the money that comes from the kind of funds that we provide to these political parties. Many corporates and other people provide to these political parties. Point being that there is so much of expenditure done. This expenditure is on the part of political party, although illegal, it must be curtailed. But this expenditure is something that happens from public funds. Public funds. This is the fund which is aggregated through taxation, direct taxes, indirect taxes, taxes for which all of us have paid, and it does not go equally to all the people, right? Article 14 very rightly mentioned it is targeted to a particular community only. But what's wrong if it is targeted to a particular community, if the community is the dominant community in a particular state? What's wrong? They need these articles, it can be given to them. Let's look at this kind of population that India has. Poor population in country. Yes. So when they need it, these are the kind of incitements. These are the kind of luring advantages that people get. Now this is the time when the political parties which are already in power, they want to hide or they want to get away from being accountable or being held accountable, and they start to offer people something that they don't have already. Don't look at the potholes, look at the smartphone that we are going to give you, or the kind of exemptions in returning back the finances to the government or bank. So this has resulted into something called as India itself not being sovereign. bringing back the question that Hema has posed. She posed a question here. She says, is it all right to blame democracy for mismanagement and spread of COVID? Wouldn't it undermine the value of democracy and normalize authoritarian government in the minds of people? Now, this is what I want to bring back to the concept of sovereignty. If India is a country which is sovereign, which is supreme inside and independent from outside, if this is what we are, we the people are we actually politically sovereign or not? We are not. During the times of elections, if we are lured by these economic freebies, then we are not independent. Our decision making is not independent at all. And just after elections, the parliament is the one which becomes more supreme, because it is the one which elects the party to be in power. And after that, it is the executive, the union executive or the state executive. And there are times when media takes over and judiciary takes over. The concept of sovereignty, who is completely supreme internally and independent externally, this keeps on rotating from one part of the Indian polity to the other. And during times of election, the voter is the one who is supreme. So the concept of equality demands not only political equality, to be right to vote, to have the right to vote, but also economic equality, also availability of opportunities, to be able to choose the opportunity. Right now, many people are not even getting the opportunity to choose, right, in many spheres. So when you ask us a question, on the equality in our country, or when you ask a question on sovereignty or questioning the COVID pandemic, see, there are so many countries where protest is happening. I'm diverting from the topic just to answer this question. There are protests happening around the world so that the COVID lockdown, it ceases to exist. See, it says no lockdown. It is happening in USA, right? Truck drivers are doing it. It is happening in Canada. It is happening in Europe. It is happening in Russia. It is happening at all the places where people say, do not restrict us, do not compel us by, against our own choices. We recently saw the example of the sports star, right? The one who has won the Grand Slam award, and you know the name already. So he had his own right to choose to reject the vaccination, and he didn't take the vaccination, didn't play the games. The point I'm making here is, it is people who decide what they have to do. The government can only try to guide them at places. So is it all right to blame democracy for mismanagement and spread of COVID? See, government could be held responsible to an extent. People also can be held responsible to an extent. There were so many examples during the second wave of pandemic, when we saw the example of Tripura, right? The DM slapping some people in a religious, in a gathering, in a marriage gathering. Something very similar happened in Madhya Pradesh when the DM snatched the phone off on a person and then mishandled them. So these were the cases when there was extreme action from the government. Even if they tried their best, the people were not in support of, or they were not following COVID norms. So the government itself by itself cannot do everything, but yes, with people it can do something, right? So if everybody has to be blamed in democracy, then yes, that is something to be held accountable for. But if only government has to be held accountable, then then I think that is a partial thought. So it would undermine the value of democracy, as you said, and it will normalize authoritarian governments. It is absolutely true. It will authorize the authority in governments, and this is why in the wider set of democracy, people can protest against these lockdowns as well. And this will also start in a country like India, when we see school lockdowns happening, when we see hotel lockdowns happening, right? Restaurants not being able to serve food, or malls and eateries and movie halls. But if it is election, you please go ahead and conduct your election campaign. But if it is political rallies or political party meetings, you can go ahead and conduct them. So this is why the election commission this time took a very, very strong stand and said that you will not be holding public rallies this time, right? So yes, people will start to revolt in case the government becomes authoritarian, and right now it has not become so. So this is the reason that Indian democracy is still preserved, but not as preserved as it is preserved here in these countries. People have got the right to rebel and revolt as well. All right, right to protest. Okay, so getting back to this article on freebies, Election Commission has been requested this time to ensure that that freebies be not given to people, and those kind of freebies which are irrational in nature should not be declared by the political parties. In case they declare so, then those parties' candidature or their deregistration of political symbols be done from election nomination, right? So this has been requested by lawyers in the Supreme Court. All right. So this is where we understand what these freebies are. All right. All right. So what is a freebie? So we have explained what is a freebie, and freebie are those kind of articles which are distributed to people free of cost, right? Something which would not cost them, but something that would be very much in need for those kind of people, right? This will lure them to start voting for those people, right? And this has happened throughout the country. In South India, right, people have also ensured that they give money if people vote for them, and money would be wrapped in newspapers, and a note of 1,000 rupee or 2,000 rupee would be sent across. So this is happening in South, this is happening in north of our country, this has also happened in northeast areas. None of the areas in the country is free from this freebie culture, which is being financed by our public funds only, right? So when you see the rise of freebies in manifestos, manifesto is what the political party declares in their manifesto. This is what they will do. Direct transfer has been 70%, asset, loan waiver, subsidies, food. This is what they have offered to people, right? And who they offer? They offer to that target audience which is in need of these articles at those places. The political parties also conduct many rallies. And let me share with you a reality, a blatant reality. Many of the investigative agencies in a country, they not only map what are the kind of issues that are revolving around the country around issues, the issues of poverty or national security that the country grapples with. They also map in the behest of the political party at power. They map the kind of communities, castes, the communities that are present, and during the times of election, this kind of data is utilized to ensure what kind of freebies have to be distributed. This is one of the realities of our country. Why? Because they can easily appease the voters, right? The point being very simple, that we have political equality but not economic equality, right? This is a form of social welfare. This is absolutely true, but it is not being done at an equal level. It is against the fundamental right. Yes, absolutely true. You have mentioned that is true. I agree. It is also a form of social welfare from directive principles of the state policy. But then there must be a binding on it. There must be a budgeting on it. There must be a plan on it. And on that plan only, one can decide how much social welfare should be done, right? This is also done to hide the underperformance of the political parties. Remember the pothole that I showed you? This is what it wants to hide here. See, it happened the same way in Nepal as well. When Nepal raises the issue of Kala Pani, right? So the political parties there are trying to hide the internal issues and raise a national issue, so that people are, they're affected by the national cause and they forget all those issues. They start to vote on that party which says that yes, Nepal wants its land back, right? Similarly, it happens in India also every time, right? This also silences the critical reviews, right? Because then we are distributing items to people will be happier. It gains popular support. But see, while we are indulging in welfareism, and the extent of welfareism can also lead to populism. We will start distributing those items which are populist, which are popular amongst people, populist demand, but that may not be completely rational, right? So rational on the grounds of the fiscal deficit that the government will incur. Not only deficit, but the reasonable expenditure that should have happened in the economy. And what does it lead to? It leads to a habit of free culture, right? People will start looking at election or the times of voting as those times they will receive goods, commodities, and they will start voting on those grounds. Now this is complete political independence. In space dependence, we are dependent on the kind of political freebies that we receive, right? So this is one. And one more thing, the impact on the actual citizens who must receive this, it is less. Why? Because sometimes, many a times, The people who are targeted, they do not receive these freebies, right? So we are actually not targeting those people. We are targeting many other people, but the actual beneficiary. And this also leads to exclusion gap again. This also leads to a patron-client syndrome. चलो आज XYZ party को फिर से जिताते हैं, because we have got this last time also, we'll get something this time also. Right? We got gold coins last time, we will get 2 gold coins this time. Patron-client syndrome. Please put this down. Good keyword for you to read, right? To write. Culture of short-sightedness of the voter, right? This is what is the impact on the voter. Impact on democracy. See, the political party which is already ruling in power, it will have wider ways to promote itself, right? It might even use the state measures, the proper state measures to be able to publicize itself, and it leaves them at a unequal footing as compared to new political party which does not have funds enough, which does not have these freebies enough, but it wants to do well. So impact on democracy, it destroys the level playing field for the political parties. See, this point, hardly any of you have mentioned this point. It damages the electoral democracy completely, because we are not electing in an unbiased manner. We are electing on the basis of who can pay us more, who can give us more articles, right? It has never been a part of the policy or law. See, if we had 5-year plans or perspective plan, or if we have plans which have been instituted by Niti Aayog or particular ministries, that is still acceptable. This is a political party. This is not, we are not Communist Party of China, no? This is not a communist party. We are not mono-party country, no? We are multiple party country in which parties will not be deciding what is the policy or what is the plan for the government. This is not a part of the policy. And this will also decrease the line between welfarism and populism. Populism is something that goes completely irrational against what is required. One very good example of populism measures is you don't have to refund any loans that you took from the government. Don't return any loans that you took from the banks. So this is completely irrational, and this is a habit that many people have already gained. Right? So against people, against the polity, democracy as well. And what about impact on economy? Out of budget expenditure, where does this money come from? All deficit for the government. Affects the public exchequer, unsustainable solutions for economic problems. Try, instead of doing a thing like this, why not we try to skill people? Why not are we saying we will ensure that all the children are able to retain in graduations? We will ensure that all the children, if they go to colleges and complete their graduation degree, we will ensure we'll pay them 5,000 rupees if they complete their graduation degree. Those kind of things are not being put. What is being, and this is not for all the people. This is also done in a local area, no? A local setup, separate things for other people, different people, segregated, right? Although it might look as fulfilling directive principles of state policy, but this was never a part of the state policy. It was a part of a political party policy. See the dichotomy here. Impact on political parties, right? So this also makes the political parties unfair, and also increases the habit of these kind of culture, right? All right. So these are the issues here, and of course, gravitating issue of maximum impact against the people or in favor of people. Now, the steps that are needed to curb these kind of issues. Why can't we have these kind of policies by the government itself, that long-term perspective planning in case of these issues, that if a region is deprived of certain issues, commodities, this could be a part of the government policy itself, right? So this is one. There should be a debate, public debate, on how the freebies should be distributed, what should be the legitimate level of freebies distribution, kind of freebie distribution, and how it should be accounted by the public expenditure, right? So the political parties also should come ahead with a plan of how they should be able to use it from the public expenditure. So these are some ways in which the funding can be regularized, and it could be made more optimal, right? So we have a question here. Hima says, sir, thank you assimilating today's topic. All right, welcome Hima. All right, so Ravi says awareness, consciousness, accountability. See, these are the keywords that I would like you to start looking at. So when we talk of freebies today in elections, we understood what is the meaning of freebies, right? giving some examples. So when questions are asked, you have to, this is like a keyword. This is like a word which could be explained in half a sentence. You have to explain this. And along with that, you got to understand what we have discussed here is the kind of impact this freebies has on people, impact it has on democracy, impact it has on economy, impact it has on the political party, all the political parties here, right? So start quoting the constitution, start quoting the places from directive principles or using of public exchequer funds, popularist measures, welfareism measures, and all the keywords that are present here. And some of you have also written those keywords. So those keywords are more important, an explanation that you are providing that will automatically come, right? So I hope that point I have made clear. Yes, I'm demanding this from you. I know that I have demanded quite several things and you people have definitely abided by it. I appreciate that. But once we raise ourselves to the standard for UPSC, we will know that we can't downgrade ourselves, right? I want you to taste that standard, right? So you will be sharing keywords, not explanations. And along with keywords, you will be sharing the example or the data point along with it, right? If it is available, right? So this is how we will be pointing out to the answers that we are presenting, right? So we studied these 4 impacts and we also studied what can be done, right? So if a question comes to you, discuss the various impacts of election freebies culture in India. It's easy. Impact on people. So why don't you put the ethical angle here, right? You look at the complete syllabus, right? Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. So paper 4 is ethics, ethical angle. Paper 1 deals with society and culture. All right. So society and culture, we talk about people and culture. Paper 2 is governance and the process of elections, international relations. So we have impact on democracy, impact on election commission, and then we have economic impact as well. Economy is here as well, right? So you can look at from that perspective also and provide diversified answer points, right? So not fairly tough. Now tomorrow is one of the very important festivals for our country. In fact, I celebrate this festival the most. This is the day I ensure that I am in front of the TV at 8:30 a.m. and I ensure to listen to those beautiful songs, the beautiful way in which the whole national festival is celebrated with fervor, with joy, with passion. I would like you to watch the Republic Day parade this time live, just like you are live with us today. I would like you to watch it. YouTube May it comes. YouTube May you will be able to find this. And the parade, I think, is going to start at a little delayed, maybe 9:30. But before that, they talk about the culture of our country. They talk about the history of the country, and very, very beautiful presentations are there on Doordarshan. So majorly because we all know what is the intention of this. The intention of this is that we understand what is happening in the Republic of India, what are the important upgrades that have happened, what does India want to demonstrate to the whole world, and because these things will come in the examination. That is why even if they don't come, we will put them in the answers, the keywords, the points, the examples will be derived from them, right? So we become more aware as citizens, and tomorrow is a holiday. You will also prepare a note on this, and that will become a part of your current affairs, right? So with this, we will see you day after tomorrow evening, and we will discuss important current affairs issues day after tomorrow evening, right? So let me see if there are questions. Thank you, Babani. Thank you, Akhila. Thank you, Amblan. Welcome. And yes, one more important thing, please remember the ADEC principle, start noting down. I have started to see that some of you actually are doing the diligent work, right? The way you have segregated your notes into 8 notebooks and 8 notebooks with the files, and the way you have started to write ADEC, right, of each article, this has become very important. Now, this is the key pillar through which you will be able to actually survive the examination. Only a few things required. Answer writing is required. Building of your current affairs is required. Traditional understanding of all the preparations, is required, and practicing of answers, right? So this is what is required. With this, I will conclude this long speech. I would like you to be a part of this celebration tomorrow, and please prepare notes for that as well. All right. Happy Republic Day, all of you. Thank you, Kriti. Thank you, Netra. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Spider-Man, Tiyasha, Kanupriya. Welcome. Jai Hind, all of you. I will see you tomorrow evening, but please prepare notes alongside. All right. Thank you. Like this initiative if you like our efforts enough, and we will see you day after tomorrow evening. Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. Questions, please put them down in the comments.